This was the scene at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo just a few hours ago. There's a big football game getting underway this hour. The hometown Bills are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. The city got a lot of snow over the weekend, and it's pretty cold. Currently -7, but feels more like -13.
The wind chill factor is -60 degrees. Apocalypse now. It is bitter cold. It is inhuman. It is the site of the most frigid football game ever played in the history of the National Football League.
Okay, I love that. That temperature you heard there was in Fahrenheit. It converts to around -50 degrees Celsius. The Bills game yesterday against Pittsburgh was postponed because of the weather. But this game, 42 years ago this week between Cincinnati and San Diego, did go on. And Cincy won, and my next guest played in that game. Glenn Cameron is now a lawyer in sunny Florida, but back then he was a linebacker for Cincinnati. Welcome to the program. I saw you giggling when we were playing that old footage. Did it bring back memories?
Sure. Yeah, as best I can remember at my age.
Oh, come on. Okay, let's talk about this. The NFL delayed a game yesterday because of extreme weather, and that got us thinking, your game in 1982. Looking back, should that game in Cincinnati have been canceled, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think one of the main reasons that Buffalo canceled was because of the snow. We had snow that fell 2 days before, and then it became very frigid. And there wasn't a snow to combat in the game. And you know, the most important thing in all these games is the television revenue. And so if you can't tell where the players are from the television or the flat screen, whatever you're watching, then the game's not even worth broadcasting. So I think they'll tip their hat to the television or the networks for for their coverage of the game.
Yeah, let's talk about the cold, though. You said that you felt numb after the first quarter. How hard was it to leave those sideline heaters to go play?
Yeah, they were very similar to what they have now, I guess. I mean, they were like jet engines that shot underneath the bench. And you were numb out on the field, and you'd come to the sideline, put on the big overcoat, and sit on that bench to at least warm your rear end. And so that was about the only thing that you could feel was your rear end, and that was for the first 2 minutes you went back in the game. Then it was over for that too.
Okay, you have to tell me the pantyhose story.
Yeah, well, we were in the locker room getting dressed and trying to figure out what we were going to put on, and our equipment manager, and I provided his name, Tom Gray. He ordered a bunch of pantyhose, extra larges for the players because he had heard somewhere where those pantyhose were excellent at keeping the warmth in your body. And so he provided those pantyhose to everybody on the team. And I think probably about 10, 15 guys wore them. The other guys, after putting them on and looking at themselves in the mirror, said, "No way, I'm not even doing that for anything." And that was my feeling. As I mentioned before, it could have been 100 degrees below zero, but I would never have put on those pantyhose.
I guess there's no pictures of that time. I just can't imagine, the players, these big fellas with pantyhose trying to stay warm.
Well, it wasn't that. It was the parade in the locker room before they went out, before they dressed and went out on the field. That was worth millions. If I had photographs of that, can you imagine how much that would be worth?
Yeah, you got me giggling on that one. It's just the image in my head. We are
You should have been there.
I wish I was. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that story. We're going to show some video of that game, and I see players in those short sleeves and bare arms. How did they do it?
Well, I don't know how they did it. I mean, I didn't go bare-armed. I had some thermal underwear on that covered my arm, and then I wore a windbreaker over the top of that to try and keep warm. But some of our macho offensive linemen went out there with bare arms. They wanted to show the world that the cold wasn't going to affect them. And one of the one of the problems with that was that after the game, there were a number of guys who experienced frostbite. And they didn't realize it until they got into a warm shower, and then you could hear the screams from the shower room. So there was no way I was going to let that happen to me. And a number of other players didn't do that as well.
That's
just a few of the offensive linemen.
Yeah, pretty serious. You know, Miami lost in a deep freeze over the weekend to Kansas City, now considered the fourth coldest game in NFL history. San Diego lost to you today. It's Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So this question may not apply, but are warm weather teams or teams that play in domes typically at a disadvantage when it's this cold?
Well, I think so. I mean, they're tropical people. So you know, you're in the heartland, Cincinnati, and you experience cold weather on a regular basis when you get into the months of November and December. I mean, I think that's an advantage. I think when we played San Diego and they came from sunny California and got off that airplane, the game may have been over then.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed you sharing these stories with us, and I'm thankful to talk to a fella who played in the coldest NFL game ever in 1982. Appreciate you sharing that.
Well, not a problem, and good luck to those Buffalo Bills and Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely. Former NFL linebacker Glenn Cameron, who played in what is considered the coldest game in NFL history.